Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Five Flags Speedway as we've got another ARCA mini boot camp here on Maconi Entertainment for you to enjoy tonight. 6:30 Eastern Time, green flag, a little bit later than that tonight as we get into qualifying for the moment. All because, of course, Jeff Maconi will be at Toledo Speedway in Ohio on the weekend, and that means a bit of a boot camp, much like what we had for Kansas last week, of course, where Jeff got another top 20 finish. I think he has just appeared in the session just in time, and hopefully he'll be racing with the rest of them in a moment. But it's myself, Ian O'Leary, and Harry Burrows on the call for you tonight of this broadcast, and good to be alongside you, Harry. I enjoyed the Kansas boot camp races last month. Just the one boot camp race, because after all it is the final ARCA race of the season coming up this weekend. And good to see that Jeff's got another ride and one final run out in 2025.
It's good to end this season on a high note as well, because I heard he had a lot of fun at Kansas, one of his favourite days in racing. Well, we don't have Toledo in iRacing, but apart from the mere criminal length difference on this track, as you may point out, I've absolutely fallen in love with Five Flags. I'm more used to it on races like the Winter Derby and loose Super Late models, but I've seen drivers struggle to get this car around here perfectly as well. It's pretty action-packed, it's pretty chaotic, but I think there's nothing like it in short tracks.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't really know what the Winter Derby is, to be honest with you, but I have done a race around here at Five Flags, and it is very entertaining. I did it in a Gen 4 car, actually, which you basically couldn't get to full throttle in it the whole way around because it is so short, but that's a test of concentration for you over the course of a long time. 200 laps here tonight, but it is a very, very short circuit, just a half mile. It is 0.001 kilometers longer than Toledo. You even said Toledo. I don't know if it is Toledo or Toledo. One's a town in Spain, one's a town in Ohio. I don't know which one's which, but anyway. Yes, the banking as well, slightly different. Turns 1 and 2 at Toledo are 12 to 13 degrees. Here it's 16 degrees, so a little bit steeper. At turns 3 and 4 is 11 degrees at Toledo. It's between 10 and 14, depending where you run at this racetrack. So it's comparable. I think it's a stretch to say it is the same, but it is comparable, and I'm kind of surprised actually that Toledo, in all of iRacing's nearly 2 decades now of life, we've still not seen this circuit added to Toledo Speedway, because it's quite an iconic one. It's been around for a very long time in over racing circles, and yeah, for some reason we still don't have it, so we'll have to make do with Five Flags tonight.
It's sort of like run out of the will to hit every single short track up, I think, in time. They'll be spending a lot of their time elsewhere. Winter Derby, first week of December, special event, 300 laps of super late models here. There's nothing like it. You should just jump in the moment that one comes around, because that event is where I learned to love short track racing, and I learned to sort of get away from the big speedways and rip it around these places. And those cars are chaos around here. It's deep in the winter, so the winds are very, very high, and it's sort of the most prestigious super late model race of the year. Usually, it's unsanctioned by a major body, but everyone comes and throws down at the end of the year. Jeff Maconi was rushing home. He has made the session. He's not made qualifying. We do have qualifying. I don't actually know exactly how many of these cars are going to hit the grid, but we'll run through them nonetheless.
Yes, let's see who's turned up here tonight and going to put on a show for us. It's Robbie Johnston who will take the pole, ahead of Jaden Oglesby alongside. Just 42 thousandths separating 1 and 2 tonight. Ed Souls and Scott Lynn will be on the second row. A little bit further behind, running at the top 5. Terry Henry, who joined us at Kansas plenty of times, I think all 3 times actually. Grayson Massey will be alongside on row 3. It's Jacob Carter and Ashley Webb then on row 4. Time gaps start to get a little bit larger down here as those who didn't quite get representative lap in. Jeff Maconi did indeed sneak in, as you say. Colin Lloyd is here as well. Unsure as to whether these guys are going to start at the back, by the way, because they've not got times, but I'll run through some more anyway. David Overstreet and Joe Bowen as well to round up the top 12. Owen Bridges, Jason Lester in row 7 if they start. Ricky Lake and Catherine Gilligan. All right, and there we go. So we'll see how many get onto the grid. At least 3 of them have already gridded up, so we're going to have at least 10 in the field. We'll see how many, though, actually do grid up at the back of the field as they pull away from the start line.
I think it's some of the ones near the back indeed. Sometimes I just fail both my qualifying laps here and get down an outfit. This is a track that really pushes you to get under people because you carry way more momentum than in a typical short track, and it makes cars like even the ultimate tight box of all history, the iRacing ARCA car, pretty loose if you over push it too hard. 200 laps will fly by, but I expect incidents along the way. You really don't get around here very cleanly, very easily.
Oh, exactly. Pace car will continue on for one more lap, by the way. We'll see whether that pit entry is needed here tonight, because we did it in some of the Kansas boot camp races, see that it was available and required indeed for the guys to come in, because we had some long green flag runs. But as you say, is 5 flags really going to be like that here from Pensacola, Florida? We'll wait and see. This, of course, has been on the ARCA schedule in the past. I'm not sure if it was on this season. I don't think it was, but certainly in years gone past, the ARCA series went here and raced at Pensacola. But 200 laps here tonight on the clock for us, and let's see how we go as Robbie Johnston brings them up towards the start. The pace car pulls in. Terry Henry getting right in behind him, up close and personal. Green flag wave from Pensacola, Florida, and we're underway. 200 laps of racing at 5 Flag Speedway in preparation for Toledo coming up this weekend.
Quite a separation further on back, some getting slow starts. Jeff Maconi didn't get to qualify. That's 15 of Scott Lynn spinning in the back. That makes our first yellow. A big disaster, but I talked about this car and track setting people loose. That'll be our first one.
Yeah, we'll just get a view as to whether that was contact induced or not. The answer is yes. Number 8 of Jason Lester got down to his rear quarter and just spins him through 3 and 4. Pretty simple one. I mean, I wonder how many times we're going to see that tonight. Is that going to be a pattern of the race, or is that an early hiccup for us? Because we hadn't even completed one lap there.
So easy to get in other people's business around here, because you seem to think you'll be able to run your line so much more easily than you do. Such a difference between the super banked and super flat short tracks of iRacing. Short caution, because we ran. His rule in Kansas was 10 laps, but this one all he said was short caution because we barely ran a lap. So I'll try and keep you updated on quite how much we shorten these cautions, but every car's in one piece, no serious damage, and we can just get this going again like it never stopped.
Exactly, yeah. Just 3 laps knocked off the total, and we'll basically just start again. Johnston has already got that restart down, hasn't he? He did it at the very start of the race, and he's done it again here. There's a blinking, oh dear, and Maconi very nearly straight into it there. Jacob Carter, who just blinked a little bit, and Maconi very nearly ran over him completely. He gets down the inside, though, of Terry Henry, and just about moves through, maybe, just edges up wide, through 3 and 4, still side by side between the two of them for third.
Very, very, very good launch. Robbie Johnston's got the fastest lap as well, but Jeff is pushing now. I have deep memories of the first time Jeff did ARCA boot camps. Well, before you touched this channel, he did a lot of Nashville Fairgrounds, and his contact there, side by side, Terry Henry in the wall. He would often burn up his stuff on tracks like this if he pushed a little bit too hard early. The dynamic very much shifted. Terry Henry's falling back again as Lester almost tried to get inside. He's going to try it again now.
Well, he'll get through now. Henry completely missed the corner there, went straight up the racetrack and loses 4th place. So he's going to have to try and win those back again. I think Henry did all 3 of the Kansas boot camp races, if I'm not mistaken. We've got a rotating cast of others who have come to join us on these Wednesday nights and lead up to ARCA series races. But unfortunately, this is indeed the last one. Round 20 of the series is coming up this weekend. It's actually on Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern time on FS2 if you're interested at seeing what goes down at Toledo Speedway on that final race of the season. I don't think there is a championship battle to look out for, but Jeff will be there, so that's what you've got to look out for when we're there anyway. Through lap 9 we're just about to complete, and Robbie Johnston off to a good start, controlling the race. But yeah, to your point a moment ago about burning up tyres and whatever, I wonder whether we are going to see a bit of people toning it back in these early laps to make sure that they don't run through their tyres too early.
Obviously, like, the flatter a track gets, the less it sort of becomes about serving the right front, because you're going to burn it anyway on a track like Martinsville. You're going to have to turn that wheel a lot. A track like this, where you go with the banking, that's Jacob Carter losing it and going low. A track like this for the banking, you do have to use those same principles that you get from traditional ovals. I'm curious as to what Jacob Carter's doing. I think he's just choosing to make pit lane for some reason or another. I don't imagine he's cut the fuel down to 12 laps worth, so, or the tyres necessarily, but he's made us duck in the pit lane, and no, he's just quit the session. May have had to go somewhere else, I'm not sure. He might just be blinking in and out. That leaves us with 8 cars on the track, and a few starting to run side by side. Now, here's Terry Henry again.
Yeah, Henry and Oglesby side by side. Got to be careful in the 07 up high there, and Terry Henry carts him up wide a little bit there. Carter's still blinking down there. I think he might be trying to sort out some internet woes down there, unfortunately. He's back rolling again, but decided that pit lane was the safest place to do that, and he was correct to decide that. Still side by side between these two. Neither Henry or Oglesby can quite get clear of the other. Oh, no! Side-to-side contact and around for Terry Henry. Oh, and he gets collected by Scott Lynn as well. That was always going to happen when you are two cars sort of sideways, turned sideways across the circuit. It was always going to happen that you get collected by somebody, but how did the initial contact happen here? Henry comes up, does he, or does the 07 come down? It's almost a meeting in the middle there, and Terry Henry goes around into the bin.
Did feel like a little bit of both. I think Terry did send it very, very, very deep, but the car on the top also just doesn't know that's going to happen. He slides a bit, and which car was it that went right into the side? It was the 15 of Scott Lynn. We do have a long portion here, so I'm going to be able to catch just a little bit of maybe that view. This is the worst place to be on a short track race. I did quite a bit of the super late model full length season this year, and sometimes he does try to get out of the way. He tries to go low because he thinks, oh, he's going to hold his brakes. At that point, he starts rolling just a bit, and at that point, he's like, I can't go high anymore. So a little bit stuck between two possibilities, has to make a choice, and almost can't get it right.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sometimes you say, aim for the spinning car because it will move out the way, but it was not clear at all that he was going to get out the way there, and so very awkward. Robbie Johnston gets out just in front. Oh, sorry, Henry was trying to stay on the lead lap there, but he's messed that up a little bit, and he's a lap down now with Jacob Carter still in the race. Yes, Jacob Carter is still in the race, and he's back again on the lead lap. I'm presuming that Henry will be giving his lap back as well. So he's got his car repaired. Scott Lynn, I think, should have his car repaired as well. But everybody apart from Jeff Maconi came in for 4 tyres. David Overstreet came in for just 2. I think that's all the stops we've seen there from that first opportunity in this race to come in.
Jeff does like giving laps back in these races, so pretty much everybody will get sent back whenever it's possible. There's a little bit of frustration on the voice chat. Thankfully, you can't hear it, but instead I have to hear it instead. Tricky, it's a very, very, very hard combo. I mean, like, people think I could drive the ARCA car around anything on the ARCA schedule. I could do this, but it's not the first time people are going to have problems, I think. I think this track is sort of a claimer of souls. One of those very, very, very tough to tame short tracks, even, like, easier to drive cars. They're going to fight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is not the hardest stock car in the world to drive, but it is still a difficult combination to deal with. As out of the final corner for Jeff Maconi, and he brings them back to the green again here from Five Flag Speedway. How quickly can those guys on newer tyres get around him? How much really is the difference of effectively less than 15 laps of green flag running? I'm surprised the whole field came in pretty much, apart from Jeff Maconi. We're about to see the difference between those two. Oh no, we're not for the moment. Anyway, as Jason Lester spins to the inside, no caution yet as he hits the pit wall.
Just about kept it facing forwards, that loud eye racing to the side to keep that green, but he's going to have to look out for another caution. I do think they are somewhat inevitable here, but he's off the back and off the pace of it. Terry Henry and Scott Lynn are into each other, though. That's Jacob Carter, actually, not Terry Henry, and that car is in trouble, and that's going to cause the next yellow.
That car is absolutely toast. The front left tyre is barely attached to where it should be. Oh wow, it's a big spin for the 15, and Carter had absolutely nowhere to go. Lynn, that was, who completely lost it off of 4.
I do think Terry Henry had something to do with it. Not the same as fault. No, I don't think there's real contact there, actually. That's so close to call. I'm not actually sure there's direct contact, but it sort of looked like he came in and there was a possibility that there was contact. There could have been an aero effect as well, just sort of sending that car slipping. I think a lot of things just went wrong around them all at once.
Yeah, I don't think there was direct contact, but it was very, very close between the two of them, certainly, and that was big contact with the wall. So Jason Lester, Scott Lynn and Jacob Carter all in pit lane, and the last two are now fully off the lead lap and with repairs to do down on pit lane, unfortunately. Scott Lynn is going to perhaps even retire, actually, that 15 car. It looks like he is gone, because that leaderboard is only showing the laps now, not the pit count, so looks like he might well be gone. Jason Lester will get back out and back onto the lead lap, so we'll still have at least 7. I wonder whether, yeah, Scott Lynn must have used his previous one in that previous caution, so he's got more damage, and now that'll be it.
Yeah, only one fast repair on a car track combo this brutal. I do genuinely feel like this is just going to be attrition for people. Like, this is simply not, this is not going to end here. We've actually already gone through, what's a quarter of the length? Make that an eighth of the length. I mean, that was very unscientific for me, but 25 out of 200 feels like it's flown by already. When the laps come, they are in the, less than 15 seconds or so. Away we go again. Jeff still leads. These tyres do seem good right now.
Yeah, they do seem to be holding on rather well, and it's Oglesby who gets to second ahead of Johnston in giving chase, so they're scrapping over second, really, back here. There goes Terry Henry down the inside, having a look. He goes up a little bit high towards the 22, and another spin. Out for 4, Terry Henry, the latest to go for a spin. We're under caution again. That is the most difficult traction zone on this circuit by a country mile, and Terry Henry has proved it in the last couple of cautions here. Last time he was around the guy that spun, this time he was the guy that spun.
I've had experience of this being the hard corner exit on this track. You sort of think they're the same, but really you push the car way harder coming out of 3 and 4, and very often you can get a really good run into 1 and 2. You can feel like your race has gone very, very well, and there has to be something about the banking on the way down that is just causing these. Because that's another one that just, it's self-inflicted, but I'm sure I'd be doing much of the same around here. Terry Henry also has used his first fast repair already. He might have actually just stopped and used it now. I'm checking. No, he is staying out. He has used his first fast repair. He doesn't want to take too many more risks.
No, you wouldn't want to, certainly, at this stage. That I agree with you that it's not very many fast repairs for one a race around here, for 200 laps around here, but it just helped to keep people a little bit more focused than giving them loads of fast repairs and letting them crash all the time, which hopefully I think is going to be good for us. But let's see what green flag racing we can get as Jeff Maconi brings them back to the green again. He's having a lot of practice at restarts from the front. How much pressure is he going to be under from Oglesby this time, though, as he runs round the outside in the 07 and stays in front of Johnston this time. Here they come onto the front straight again, 30 laps complete, and Maconi under pressure for this lead.
You could just see them getting loose on exit, especially out of 3 and 4. It just feels looser and it just feels trickier. And I think everybody's just trying to stay in their groove and stick with their own stuff here. That exit is tricky. The 22 tries to go a little bit lower, and now the 07's miles up high. Here comes Robbie Johnston. He has the bottom lane. It's a lot faster around here to hit that bottom and hit that apex and come in and out. And Oglesby is just sort of waiting for his chance to get back in the line, I think. Ashley Webb and Jason Lester sort of playing the same game just behind.
Or a look down the inside from the 8 of Jason Lester, who moves ahead of Ashley Webb, who's had quite a quiet race so far, but that's not a bad thing based on what we've seen so far. As we complete 33 laps now. That's 1/6 of the way through if we're going to continue on with our fractions and our mathematics. We're cracking on very quickly. As you mentioned, when we get green, the laps do get reared off very, very quickly. It's just under 4 laps per minute, which gives you an idea of just what speed we're going around here with. Obviously, the cautions will slow us down a little bit, but it's a really, really quick racetrack, and you get dizzy around here very, very easily. As Robbie Johnston closes up to the back of Maconi, Terry Henry moves up to the back of David Overstreet here. This is the last 2 on the lead lap now. Jacob Carter's still in the race, but 3 laps down.
Taken to the inside. He is past and he is clear. Quite easily done. Robbie Johnston's sort of keeping Jeff honest, but I think maybe he just wants to sort of stay in this position. Interesting aspect for race strategy. Typically the rules here are limited tyre sets as well, so you know, Jeff could have taken the benefit of going in, but he chose that track position, and he benefited quite a lot from those cautions because you're burning fuel under yellow, but you're not really using the tyres very much. And as long as these don't come back to bite him too bad by the end of the run, then he's in a pretty good position to chase for the win. Mason Lester gets that third place back. I mean, Ogilvy's the ones that are dropping like a rock here. I was thinking of not being in two of the moment I looked away.
This is a close battle for third place at the moment between Leicester and Oglesby, but Maconi and Johnston are the class of the field at the moment, and I think we've had a sort of question answered here, Howie, about the tyres situation. Maconi's got 15 laps older tyres in terms of green flag running. Anyway, 15 laps I'll call it. It's about 20, but the cautions as the 4 comes to a stop on the front straight. Ashley Webb, I think, was expecting a caution and isn't getting one, so is just got to tow back to pit lane, in fact, on lap 40 at the moment. But yeah, these tyres holding up well for Maconi, and he still leads through lap 40.
Robbie Johnston's getting faster though. I mean, it was 3 temps, now it's 2 temps, now it's 1.5 temps. We're in that region now of time where these laps are starting to go faster, and now you do the hard part of actually getting past another car on this track, and then it's one thing getting up to the bumper and running past the laps, it's always the other thing forcing yourself through, but Jeff can't quite hold that bottom line. Maybe either it's just a mistake going in, or maybe that car isn't taking to and holding the bottom as well, and his line is having to start to drift up because he almost got taken under, and you can just see that gap is almost constantly open.
Oh, it's another look down the inside, and here comes Johnston. Will he go for the move down the inside? It doesn't look like he can quite get there at the moment. Oh, a big slide on the exit as well from Johnston. Now a big wide run as well from Maconi, as Johnston does now get the overlap. Is he finally alongside and finally going to go through? It looks like as soon as he's pushed Maconi offline, he can start to make the moves and come through here, but not quite successfully just yet. He's still having a look, still having a go, and Johnston now pulls properly alongside. Can he finally get his nose in front? Still doesn't look like it. Very close to side-to-side contact. Surely he's going to be leading at this lap. No, Maconi still leads another lap, and he's holding firm on the outside.
I'm impressed that there's pace on the middle of this track now. The bottom was a lot faster for a long time, but now this middle is starting to show itself capable here of having enough grip to keep you running. I mean, it genuinely, we are not just looping the footage here for you. This is exactly what's going on the track. It's been this exact same side-by-side dance, but I think it's inevitable for Robbie eventually. He just knows that he has to just go at it lap after lap and not make a mistake. Like that slide on exit has lost him all his time. Back up again, start again.
Yeah, effectively, he's just gone down a snake there, and he's got to start all over again and try and work his way back past Maconi, because we were, following them as he was trying to work his way alongside. It took a very long time, and it might well do again as we go back to third place, where a similar thing's happening here between Leicester and Oglesby. These two, along with Terry Henry, are the only ones left on the lead lap now, because David Overstreet has also come in. We've had 2 retirements so far. Ashley Webb in the 4 car has indeed now retired, and Scott Lynn, as we already know, out of the race. Jacob Carter still going 3 laps down, unsure as to whether Overstreet is going to continue on.
I think Jacob had to manually take all of those repairs and has just decided, I'm going to do it and going to keep hanging with it. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening to Overstreet's car. I want to catch a replay of what happened, and I have the bookmark saved. It's just going to be a game of when we can look away from some of this action, because we're doing 2 battles at once. Neither's quite gotten down alongside. In this time of relative peace and tranquility, it's worth mentioning. We're talking about this being the end of the ARCA season, but Jeff is definitely looking to do it again next time. ARCA has to manually approve you to race on particular types of tracks, and what he's holding out for is Daytona approval for next year. I mean, now that is a scary sight to behold, because you have at Daytona, you have to be disciplined, or else very bad things happen to everyone and you get remembered for it, which is even the best of luck. But he's been getting approval quite quickly. He got overnight approval for Michigan just out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was all the way back at the early part of this year, of course, in June, the Michigan race, 6th round of the season. As you say, Daytona starts the season. It's the big showpiece event, if you like, for the ARCA series. It's part of Speed. Do they still call it Speed Weeks? Is that still a thing? But anyway, it's one of the races that goes on. The millions of races at Daytona at that time of year between January and February, and it'd be good to see him there if possible. But as you say, it's a scary race in some sense as well. Not least to driving, I'm sure, but also to watch as well. But unpredictable things happen there for sure as well. So would be great to see him there in 2026. But of course, the ARCA series about to embark on an off season between the months of start of October and the start of February. 4 months off away from racing before the 20 race schedule that returns again for 2026. But hopefully it will be a return very soon for that, and hopefully Jeff will be at some of the races as well. Hopefully we'll be covering some practices beforehand as well, although I'm always sceptical about how much you can actually learn from doing the sim, to be honest. But clearly, if anything else, clearly it's something to enjoy on a Wednesday night anyway.
He says it's more fun than doing it with the AI, as a bit of a slurp from Jeff. Suddenly Robbie Johnson was in until suddenly he wasn't. I mean, that was almost it. Almost wasn't maybe an unusual checkup, and then sort of like the pace just dropped again. Maybe he checked up himself a little bit scared.
Yeah, it just seemed to maybe catch a bit of the apron there as well. By the way, when I read out the banking, there's a big difference between where you run, especially through 3 and 4. Just have a look at, you can almost see it really. Down low there, it's part of the racetrack, very, very low, but it's not quite as steep. It's as little as 10 degrees quite down low, but it's almost like a half pipe. As you go further up, you get up to 14 degrees or so when you're a little bit higher. There's a bit of a sweet spot where you just running slightly through the middle. You can see just a bit away from where the lighter grey is, right on the bottom there through 3 and 4, and just a little bit higher than the normal line. It's a little bit the case at turn 1 as well, though that's more of a steeper, more obvious apron. It's a bit more gradual down there. You can see the lighter grey down bottom and the darker grey up top. But actually, maybe it wasn't the apron, because Johnson just got loose there again through into turn 3 that time. He wasn't anywhere near the apron. Maybe he's just got a loose race car on the way into turn 3.
I'm surprised that Jeff just has held on with the old tyres as well. This track very, very abrasive on them, and that's 62 laps now run on the tyres. Everybody else somewhere between 45 and 38 of them. So, I would have thought at this point that the delta would be significant. There's definitely a big gap where these two drivers up front are like the ones that are going to be at each other's throats the whole race. It's the pace difference between them and the pack behind is significant. I'd say also when you look at something like iRatings, top 2 close, 3 and 4 close, between them not very close. So we've got 2 separate races going on here. But in this battle between the top 2, I'm just surprised that Robbie fell back. Do you think maybe he pushed himself too much trying to pass Maconi, and now they're actually on a closer delta than you'd think?
I don't know. I think that this has been the case the whole time, actually. I think we've been watching 2 drivers going at each other purely based on just driver skill at the moment, and it seems right now these 2 are very evenly matched, because Johnston is clearly way quicker than the rest of the field. On his strategy, if we want to characterise it like that. Oglesby and Lester and Henry are all on his strategy, and they're all at least 6 seconds adrift. Henry's not actually that far away from going a lap down on pure speed at the moment as we go through 1/3 distance here tonight. But I think the tyre difference is so negligible that we are just seeing 2 drivers go at it at the moment. Yes, maybe there is a case of Maconi taking the edge off those tyres for Johnston. They're certainly not fresh tyres anymore. He's approaching 50 laps done on them, but Maconi's done longer on his, so you'd expect that to be a similar drop-off if that was the case. I think we're just seeing 2 drivers have a proper go at this, and it's been fun to watch. But when you have an attempt like that and a big run like what Johnson did and the go that he gave it there, you do drop back generally if it's unsuccessful, and he's got to build himself back up again to get within half a second, and then within 4 attempts. It's got to be a slow build up here. After a big attempt like that, generally you do drop back, and it takes some time to rebuild that.
Running this many laps around 5 flags as well, let me tell you, there's something like rhythmic about it, but it then sort of traps you into a mistake of thinking, oh, this will be simple. And then you make a mistake. Here's a scheduled pit stop, I believe. Jason Lester has decided enough is enough. 46 on the stint, and he's making a stop. Others are making it to 71. But I don't imagine he could just be another driver that's decided that today's enough, or maybe he's just trying a new or different strategy. because that battle's now been sort of ended by this, and you go down multiple laps making a green flag pit stop, and out he goes again. This is definitely part of the strategy. That was a very early stop, 46 on the stint. I mean, other people have not done this at all, unless was he the one that took 2 tyres?
Good shout. Might have been. There was somebody. I thought, from memory, it was David Overstreet, but I could be wrong on that. I didn't note it down at the time, and there's no longer a 2-tyre stop as anybody's most recent stop. Now that might be because Leicester has just reset that by doing one now, but of course Overstreet has had more stops since then as well, so his is reset. So we're never going to know. But oh dear, there's all sorts of changing here, and maybe it's kicked something off here because Terry Henry's coming in, and now he goes a lap down as well. Is Maconi or are Maconi and Johnston going to follow, or are they going to continue to run their own race? Because as I say, it's earlier than I expected as well. Their tyre drop-off's really not been that severe so far.
75 laps, so this car doesn't run on a nuclear reactor. Like at one point, he's stopping this stone. I think. I mean, there has to be a natural fuel limit, and usually around 40 laps of a longer track can be a stop on full fuel on these things. Let's say 80 of a shorter track is pretty close to max capacity on this thing. He's definitely trying to learn how to drive this thing as it gets worse and worse and worse, all the way to the bottom, I think.
It's funny how, by the way, we've got 7 cars running and 5 of them are here. On this, and most of them not on the same lap either, which is kind of funny to me. But there you go. That's the way that racing goes sometimes in these longer green flag runs. Always fun to have these longer green flag runs. By the way, I do think in real life, over racing, especially NASCAR Cup Series racing, has become a bit too filled with cautions and too short green flag runs. But if you let them go for a while, then you can have a lot of fun, a lot of good racing. But there you go. We don't see that very much in real life anymore. I mean, it must be approaching, I think, 50 laps now, green flag racing. I think we've gone over it now, actually, since the previous caution. And you can see by the way, the lack of difference between the new tyres and the ones that Maconi and Johnston have got, because Terry Henry's come out just about 2 laps down, not quite 3, and you know, he's barely quicker than Maconi at the moment. Far more important is the driver skill of the individual and so on. It's far less about your tyre life at the moment, and Terry Henry's proving that at the moment, I think, by not really getting away from these guys.
I mean, Terry Henry's lap data seems to not show up. Let me get one more. Let's try and get Jason Lester. I think he might be able to provide us with something. I have to find him on a list. Okay, for some reason that's just not having a great day of his life. But if I look at the last laps, you're right, Jeff's running 17.1s, which is still faster than Johnson, by the way. Jason Lester's running 16.7s. That's like half a tenth, which, I mean, that's more than you... No, sorry, half a second. That's more than you think on a track like this, but it's not the end of the world. You'd expect maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I think as far as the strategy goes, Maconi might well try and split this race in half from here and go another 18, 17 laps from now and then come into the pit lane. What Johnston decides to do, I'm not sure, because as he pitted more recently, could try and trap Maconi laps down if he wants to and run a long way. I don't actually know how long you can go on fuel in these cars around here, but it's probably quite a long way because it's such a short circuit and you're actually off throttle for quite a long time. So I do wonder how far they can go and whether Johnston might try and trap Maconi and all the others, of course, because when Maconi comes in, which will be enforced before Johnston anyway, there'll only be 2 cars on the lead lap.
Raw pace from these cars basically running on the canvas. I mean, I'm waiting for someone to finally make the move in the pit lane up front, but Jeff is still running even with Robbie Johnson, 87 laps, 70 laps, Ogilvy 70, and the others. I mean, Terry Henry last run a 17.1. That must have been a mistake on that. If that's the raw pace, then to 17.0. I mean, that's 2 to 3 tenths. I mean, you are driving against a very, very, very strong driver up front for sure, but I'm just not seeing the delta.
Yeah, it's looking better and better for Jeff Maconi as we continue on. It must be said, 88 laps complete here from Five Flag Speedway, and Johnston's actually under more pressure from David Overstreet, is that, in the blue just in behind. Trying to unlap himself, which is a bit awkward. 46, yeah, it is Overstreet, who's in 7th at the moment, as Jaden Oglesby comes in just inside 90 laps. So now we are down to just 2 on the lead lap here as green flag pit stops continue here from 5 flags. Oglesby deciding that that was the moment to come in. But since he'd gotten away from the battle with the others, Oglesby, he had actually kept pace with the others. He just let the other two have a 6-second head start, which means they're going to be very difficult to catch in the end. But Oglesby now comes in. He's just out behind Jason Lester, who's undercut him there quite comfortably.
I've not heard promises of this, but it is a Jeff Maconi tradition to throw a competition caution halfway, get everyone back on the lead lap and restart the race. And he might definitely go for it if the race brings out this much. Again, you weren't there, but today is like amazing shadows of the Nashville Fairground Series. It was exactly like this, and that's Jason Lester. Still keeps it pointed forwards just to dodge the caution. Whoa.
It does seem, doesn't it, when you're trying to get these tyres up to temperature and tyres up to speed, that you can very easily find the wall off a fort. That seems to be the place to do it. He was trying to pass David Overstreet here, not too far behind Robbie Johnston. This was. He's quite low. He's not really on the apron. Yeah, it's just tight on the inside and goes into the wall. It's just such a difficult corner when you're trying to get the power on that.
Especially when you go low, because you've talked about that banking being strange here, and strange is the word I would use indeed. In fact, Jason Lester has dipped back into the pit lane. Probably maybe to try and fix what damage might exist from that. Can't be overly significant. Still keeping an eye on Johnson up front. I keep thinking, will he, won't he? Approaching lap 100, I can do fractions too, just like I could at the start, because that would mean half. And might see us a race reset, or Robert Johnson's not holding onto those tyres very well, I must say. Almost a slip into the wall on exit 2.
Yeah, well, so I'm just waiting for this lap 100 here to see what happens, because it's a bit of a mystery. I'd be surprised in a way, because, well, and there goes a caution anyway, actually. Now, have we got one for incident? We have got one for incident, so this is going to act as a halfway caution anyway, I think, as the 07 of Jaden Oglesby goes around. One of the drivers 2 laps down, and still running 3rd place, don't forget, but was trying to get past, yeah, there we go, he's trying to get on the power there, out of turn 4, trying to get past Johnston. Oh, good avoidance from Overstreet, who very nearly went into the side of him.
Ain't that corner the bane of our existence today? That's a slip and a slip. I'd love to catch that on board of Overstreet and just see how quickly he had to dodge it. Do I actually have a cockpit here? I know I have roll bar. So keep an eye, and yep, it's a good dodge. Aim for the rear when that car is sliding, and can't be failed too easily. Now this obviously means the pit stops for our leaders. Finally, here's Jeff Maconi taking his first service of the race. I wonder if he'll just not need another, period. Robbie Johnson in the pit box ahead. Let's see what happens on the exit. Oh, that's tight. Oh, I think that's a pass from Jeff.
I think that was really close. I mean, the actual exit is so close to the end of Robbie Johnson's pit line that, yeah, he's beaten him there, hasn't he? He's beaten him to that cone. If that is where the marker is, he's certainly beaten him to that cone. Yep, comfortably so as well. So I wonder, yeah, and Johnston has indeed been given back the lead on live pictures. So, yep, Johnston wins the race off pit lane. That's a huge advantage having the number 1 pit box here.
A little bit of wheel spin off the line, but thankfully wheel spin doesn't kill you in these cars like it used to. It's just another piece of Jeff Maconi Scott Racing trivia while we're here. I was once told that the rumor was that he thought about doing Euro Series instead, because they're about the same cost. Now I would have been in full support, because that means he would have been able to get me VIP into Brands Hatch one day. You know, I'd get some special treatment for that one. But no, ARCA's definitely the commitment. You get to stay stateside just a little bit more. I know some iRacers have taken on the Euro Series. Garrett Lowe, Coke Series, has driven the season. He did very, very well. And that car is coming soon, hopefully for a stock car road course series. I've been waiting for one of those for a very long time so that I can crash in the first 2 weeks and then not do it again. Restart on the way, pace car in, everybody rushing around. Don't worry about the black flags. Only 3 cars here to actually take the start.
And yeah, there's going to be plenty more catching up behind as well. But this race is rather between Maconi and Johnston, and it's Robbie Johnston who leads the race after the midway caution, and forced actually through incident really, rather than Maconi actually throwing it in the end. So he yeah, brings us back to the green. And we'll see what was it a case of Maconi was just good at defending when he was in front, or is track position so overbearing at this circuit now that Johnston is going to find it quite easy to keep Maconi behind him when the roles are reversed here between these two?
I love the flipping of the script. I really, really do. It just gives us a chance to see both halves of this race, really, and see what both drivers do from the behind position. But to be honest, knowing Jeff's mentality in these races, I think he's very happy that he's here, and he has to earn it, because he's here to enjoy himself, and he's here to try out different things, and some of that's going to mean sticking behind a guy and now trying to get past him, just like he held him off the first time. It's possible passing is very hard in this thing, although they're not dirty air magnets. I mean, we have a yellow for pause anyway. Jason Ogleby spinning on the front stretch.
And towing, which is never good news for the state of the machine. Let's see what happened here. It's out of turn 4 again. Where else? Getting on the power, goes for a slide, and Charles actually 2 damaged. He has just towed back to pit lane though, so he's going to lose laps unnecessarily there. But it's easy to say, isn't it, when you look at spins out of turn 4, say, well, just modulate the throttle better. Has Robbie Johnston's found the wall under caution? Has he? What's gone on here?
Yeah, I just see a meatball flag on the guy. Okay, we're gonna. Oh, okay. Spinning top. Oh no. Oh, he does have the fast repair. He will be pleased to know he has the fast repair here. That is a bold mistake to make under the yellow. Oh,
Jesus.
These are the days you're happy you're a sim racing commentator, not a real racing commentator.
That was really. But how has he managed it as well? I don't understand.
Is he just messing with us? Are we being messed with?
It feels like it, doesn't it?
Like, is this a supreme troll? Because maybe he wants to go. Maybe he wants to. Yeah, he just full throttles out into the wall. I heard something on the mic before this, but I couldn't make it all out. And has he actually left the session? Is he about to leave us with the saddest 91 lap? Let me listen in for a second.
He might be about to leave us, unfortunately. But still on pit lane for the moment. 3 on the lead lap as Overstreet goes past. We'll get back at least one of the laps, so he'll be 3 laps down now. Terry Henry will join up to the back of the field, and yeah, we will have 3 on the lead lap ready for this restart. Should be 89 to go when we get back going again.
So no, the voice chat's about something else, so that's okay. I thought maybe it would have been something to do with Robbie. Could it have been some weird hardware failure that sent him into the wall as well? Because we're going to keep delaying this green, by the way, until everybody's back on the lead lap. But Robbie's out of the car. Jason Lester's in this car, waiting to get repaired and sent back out the track. Robbie Johnston's now just out of it.
And Oglesby as well.
Lester's 20 laps down, so he's not getting those waved around unless we're going to be here for the next year. But now I wonder what we're doing here.
I wonder whether... I think when you add a lap, when the pace car lights go... Oh no, there you go. Another lap's been added there. The lights do come back on again, but they keep going off again.
They're going to keep... He's continually adding laps until David Overstreet is getting back on the lead lap, so he's got one more to do. Yeah. But I'm just wondering what reality we're going to return to and why Robbie Johnston disappeared from our screens. The charitable read is a black flag on that. Again, I can try and Robbie Johnson towed to pit. Do I have a cockpit view? Is it iRacing? Yes, I do. They just put it in a stupid place. Let's go cockpit view. And how hard is to snap at the wheel? Is this just like? Oh, it's possibly hardware. That's where my brain's gonna put it. We're green again, but this is gonna separate quite a bit from Jeff's perspective, I think.
Yeah, it looks like he will drive away at the front because there are already 4 there. And Overstreet didn't actually get all of his laps back. He's still 1 down in 4th place, but they continue on. And Overstreet will hope for 1 more caution before he can get back onto the lead lap again. But as you say, you'd expect now Maconi to be able to control this race from the front because everybody else has had their trouble here tonight so far. It's going to be about just focusing in here for Jeff and focusing on driving away from the rest of the field and completing 80 odd strong laps now.
And as much as I detest the art of doing what I call a podcast style race call, but like I hope that Jeff is kept honest enough for us to make 85 laps of this, because Terry Henry is certainly off the pace. Overstreet is not catching. Carter's been 6 attempts, but he is dropping. That is that's a stopped Henry as well, so we might be down to 3. That's a curse.
And 2 on the lead lap indeed as well. So, yeah, Terry Henry now does come in. Did he drive it in or did he tow, I wonder?
Was a
car
tow.
17.
He stopped that
It's a
car
tow and he might be
it.
gone. Yeah, it seems like he's gone. I mean, to be fair, Jason Lester isn't out of the session yet. he's still there in 7th. He's just many laps down. So we might see him back again. He's just, of course, got to do his repairs the old-fashioned way.
How many pace lap laps do you need to add to give this man his laps back, though? Like, we'll basically be under yellow for the whole race.
You get roughly 1 back for every lap under yellow. So at the moment, we'd need, what, 30?
28 caution laps.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like a great time.
That would be a very long time indeed. I don't think Jeff would do that. I mean, Overstreet wasn't even allowed all his laps back, and he was only about 5 down. So I don't think Jeff would do that. But I wonder whether Overstreet just was brought to 1 lap down just to keep him in the game, as it were, but not give him all his laps back all in one go, because that does feel a bit cheap. But anyway, maybe it was a mistake or something. I don't know, because he's still a lap down, and he's left these 2 to fight for the front. Although Carter is holding up quite well in the wheel tracks of Jeff Maconi at the moment.
I've heard that Jeff is sharing some sympathy to us right now, and can you believe we get paid for this, is all I'll say, as 6 attempts become 7 attempts. And it might be worth just looking at Jeff's on board and just seeing quite what it's like to run these laps around here. We might be informed at one point that we're getting pulled off the air, and for once it wasn't our fault. Who knows? Time continues to fly, and so do the laps around here. They are still quick laps. 16.4 seconds is one go around here.
Yeah, exactly. So realistically, there's about 20 minutes between now and the finish, because of the shortness of this racetrack from the point of view from Jeff Maconi as we ride on board. And that complete little bit of correction out of turn 4 that time round. Again, off the throttle, down the brakes, ready for 1 and 2. Getting as close to, well, not quite as close to the wall as possible, but quite close. Then to 3 and 4. And then this traction zone, I mentioned, it's been very, very difficult so far in these ARCA cars to control, but he continues to get around all okay. And yeah, now leads by a second. He is starting to put Carter further in the rearview mirror, despite a good fight back from Jacob Carter in terms of his speed so far.
All right, news from the chat. Wait for the lap counter here. Hopefully this works, because we're just going to be cutting 50 laps, and there we go. We're cutting 50 laps, and we're calling it at 150. So we do indeed get the end of a show, but that makes it 22 to go rather than 77.
Okay, just over a second for Jeff. at the front of the field ahead of Jacob Carter and David Overstreet. And it just still seemed that Jason Lester's down on pit lane still, but hopes of him returning, I think, diminishing slightly in the next 20 laps or so. As you say, they are going to fly by very, very quickly indeed for all these guys. So yeah, buckle in for the last 5 minutes or so. Effectively, is what it's going to be. As Maconi leads, 1.2 seconds or so, 1.3. Yeah, he is breaking away at the front of the field once again here in this restart ahead of Jacob Carter. By the way, they're nearly a full lap in front of Overstreet, just crossed the line now. So yeah, well, 3/4 of a lap maybe. So there could be a little bit of lap traffic here as Maconi puts a driver 2 laps down here, but of course doesn't really matter when given the laps back under the cautions anyway.
One of the most infamous moments on this channel actually happened during a Jeff Maconi race at National Fairgrounds. It sort of went this way, and I decided to zoom the camera around at billboards. We caught one that said mulch in capital letters, and you've been enough in the groove with Kirk Mills to know that when he screams a word, he screams a word, and the word was mulch today. So that was a memory in history that I'm almost being reminded of. And unfortunately, you're not going to be able to produce a Kirk Mills scream, and neither can I. Let alone what time it is here. It's just not the sort of people we are. But you know that's almost where I end up going. If there were another 70 laps, we'd be looking at mulch signs and looking inside helmets. But we can get away with 16 around here. Anyone that can keep the car in one piece, quite frankly, has earned it, because it's been a race of attrition, it's been a race of challenge, and it's been proven it's not easy.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, the reason we can't do that, quite apart from the fact it's midnight, and you know we've got streets that we'll be working up. We're American and we've got self-control. So we're not American and we're not American. I mean.
That's the important
We're not American
part. Two Brits and an ARCA booth.
I know, yeah. Has that ever happened before? I wonder. It's been me and Ron for the last month or so, but yeah, 2 Brits let loose on a short track oval. And this is what happens. Everybody flees by the looks of things, because yeah, it's just not doesn't feel right, does it? But there you go. 12 to go for Maconi out front, I believe. I was looking around earlier, by the way, at the old shots. This track has got some very old signage around it. Some advertisement for a race in 2012 or 2013 or something on the signage at this circuit. So clearly this was scanned a very long time ago and not touched since.
Yeah, when a scan is old, and you sort of get those like ancient commercials. I mean, that must mean that either they were very bad at updating signs, or they must have gotten that scan near the start. I mean, for some reason, I have a timestamped one around. There's the video where they revealed it on their YouTube channel. The graphics look very different. 2015, they scanned this. So how do we have it out for 2012? Well, they released it in 2015.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe they actually did the work at the place in 2013, sort of late 2013 maybe, because I think it was either 2012 or 13. I can't remember what I saw, but anyway, I think that's what. No, it's very common actually in our racing to have old sign, even at Bathurst, which is a very well used and well known road course. Has some very old signage. On one of the advertisements, there's one of the Australian cricket team from that period who was captain in the late 90s on assignment on an advertisement board. Obviously, the track was scanned a bit after the 90s, as you can guess. But yes, that's the sort of age of some of the advertisement you're looking at. But there you go. Our racing likes to do things properly, and if that means leaving something a little bit old out there but done properly, then they'd rather do that than a sort of shoddy new version, and I respect them for that.
They have been changing billboards a bit recently, though. Last year, if you did a lot of Road America racing, they just changed all the billboards in like a patch, and that was just it. They didn't do any other like visual. I think it just came before the SCCA runoff. They just, it was a Road America 500. One of the two. An event was coming up, and they just changed them all around the track, and they were just expecting you wouldn't notice. They've done a little bit of that sometimes. Okay. It's just one where. So sometimes I quite like the time capsule. It's like they gave good reasons why they had to like remove the old Charlotte recently, but like I like that it was this like point in time in 2008, you know, that like it was this weird piece of history with that horrible rover turn under the big hit pylon, and it was just quite nostalgic in a way.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Yeah, it was, but indeed no longer as Jeff gets onto a couple of laps to go. Very close to the finish of 150 laps. So slightly shortened from the scheduled 200 here tonight from Five Flags Speedway. But what else can you expect as Maconi brings them to 1 lap to go with a 5-second lead over Jacob Carter. He has just extended this lead and this advantage over the last couple of moments as Carter's speed is not staged with Maconi's. Out of 4 for Jeff Maconi, and he is going to win here at Five Flags Speedway in preparation for his ARCA appearance at Toledo Speedway this coming weekend. He's dominated the field here tonight. He's survived the crashes, the incidents and the accidents, and he has beaten Carter to the line on the lead lap, and only David Overstreet, the only other driver to get to the finish as well. There are your results. Maconi, Carter and Overstreet, the ones to cross the line at the finish. Terry Henry retired most recently, with Robbie Johnston, Jaden Oglesby, Jason Lester, Ashley Webb and Scott Lynn all retiring as well. So 9 drivers getting to the start, and unfortunately just 3 to the finish. That's why the race shortened by 50 laps or so. And in fairness, 200 laps is the scheduled ARCA distance. I know we did the ARCA distance from the Kansas Speedway races, but nevertheless, it is it's quite a long way round. 200 laps at Five Flags Speedway. So not all in all totally surprising that the race shortened in the end. We'll watch the pace cars. We'll bring Jeff in for a bit of a chat after the end of tonight's race. Jeff, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on surviving the 150 laps at Five Flags as it was in the end. How did you feel like you ran here tonight? How did you enjoy getting out there at Pensacola?
Oh, it was a ton of fun. Drove from the back to the front. I had to run do some errands and stuff all day today, so I didn't get a chance to practice much. Drove from the back to the front and had a great battle going with Robbie, and then he must have had to go or something. But you know, it's unfortunate when these races only get like a handful of people and then half of them leave. But it's also a tough car track combo. Not super popular to run at, so I get it, and it was really fun running with the guys that were there, and it was a really good time.
Talk to us a little bit about that difficulty in terms of driving as well. Turn 4 on the exit seemed to be the most difficult part from where the cautions were being created from. What was the most difficult part for you?
I had the most trouble entering turn 1. I was very, very, very tight, and in the ARCA car, especially, when you are tight entry, that problem only gets worse, and it happens very fast. So if you don't manage your right front tire very well, you will be feeling it later on. But the exit of 4 is very bumpy. It's a weird exit. You have to take it a lot lower than you feel like you should, and you feel like you're very slow on exit, but that's the only way to really be fast. So if someone doesn't hit the bottom and exit really low in 4, then you will have a very good chance of spinning out. It is a slick part of the track.
And just finally, tell us a little bit about obviously this track's comparisons with Toledo Speedway, who you'll be racing at this weekend, and why you chose it tonight for just a little bit of preparation before the final ARCA round of the year.
Yeah, Toledo is a very unique and tough little track. It's a lot of turning, and so I've raced at Nashville, which was a 5/8 mile with the short corners and steeply banked. I raced at Madison, which had very, very steeply banked corners that were extremely short, but it was a half-mile track. And Toledo's got sort of longer corners. They extend further out into the straightaways than most, so you spend a lot of the lap turning based on all the footage and in-car and talking to other drivers that I've done. So Five Flags seemed like the closest place to it. Lanier also would have been close, but it was a little too short. But Toledo's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for it. We're coming off of a really strong run that we had at Kansas. We had top 15 speed and ended up finishing 20th because we overheated a couple times. I ran out of fuel on the last lap. With ARCA's rules, you can have a caution on the white flag and it will reset the field, and we go for a green, white, checkered. And I started losing fuel pressure in turn 3 on lap 100. And so we had to pit there, lost the lap to that. So we probably could have been like 16th or so based on speed. I outran Alex all day, which, unlike most team owners, he's very, very happy when his second car beats him. It means the driver is actually doing what they're supposed to and getting everything out of the car that they can. So that was nice, and I'm hoping to carry that momentum with a really good run at Toledo, keep the car clean, just not do anything stupid, don't make any enemies, and pick off cars as we can and have ourselves a good day is the goal.
We're looking forward to it, absolutely, and thanks for clarifying it's Toledo. I've been pronouncing it wrong.
Yes, I heard Toledo a couple times, and I did chuckle. It is Toledo.
Toledo, I'm sorry. I think Toledo is a town in Spain.
It probably is, and that's probably the correct pronunciation of it from whoever came up with the word Toledo. But
it's true.
We Americans take everything and make it our own. So Toledo it is at the end of the day.
There we go. I've learned something tonight. Anyway, anybody you'd like to shout any final words before we let you go tonight, Jeff?
Well, huge thanks to everyone that's on the card, the teams at Maconi Setup Shop and Maconi Entertainment. You guys are absolutely amazing. We've got Big Fish Barbecue on the card. Chastity Tucker is a realtor here in Clarksville, Tennessee, and she is amazing. So thank you to her being on the car. 4K Motorsports is on the car. They are awesome, awesome people and big supporters of mine. So thank you to them. I'm very excited that we will have Movember on the car. That hasn't been announced yet, but we're getting the decals printed. They should be on the rear bumper, and I am very excited for that. I have been trying for so long to get them on a car, and now we are finally doing it for Toledo, and hopefully more in the future. I would love to continue working with them. We've got our Saturday for the Boys Movember event on iRacing, which will be next month in November 29th, I believe. Whatever the last Saturday of the month is, I believe it's the 29th. And so more information will be coming out about that as the weeks get closer. But yeah, everyone that's on the car, I can't possibly thank them enough. And hopefully we can have a good run for the 03 at Toledo on Saturday, which you can watch on Fox Sports 2 or the Fox Sports streaming channels at 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, October 4th. Yeah, the 4th. And thank you guys for a great broadcast.
Thanks very much for having us again, Jeff, and thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us at the end. Good luck, of course, on Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate it, you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks very much. That's Jeff Maconi tonight from the Five Flag Speedway Victory Lane tonight, as it were. A little bit of practice before Toledo Speedway, and I'll get it right for the end of the broadcast. Good to have another boot camp race, Harry. Maybe not as many as numbers-wise as we'd hoped, but as you mentioned throughout the day, it's a very, very difficult combination. And so when people have used up their fast repair, they're staring a 10-minute plus repair in the face. You can certainly understand why people dropped out of the race by the end. But good run out for Jeff, and hopefully he can run just as well as that at Toledo on Saturday.
Oh, this was nostalgic. This really took me back to the weekly National Fairground days. But I'll take anything on this track, on this channel in a few weeks. Racers Elite Truck Series, which are some of the best racers on this channel, are taking their Truck Series finale to this track. So that's going to be one of those. I don't actually watch many streams I'm not on. Have to watch that one. And later on tonight, we got 360 wins Prince of Williams Grove. So the thrills are never, ever going to stop here at Maconi Entertainment. There's plenty to catch up upon. But we're about reaching the end of this ARCA season, and there'll be plenty more to see, and hopefully more on the other side. What will happen if Jeff doesn't host it at Daytona? Let me ask you that. But, it's been good to round some of these out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been fun to be here for these ARCA Bootcamp races. Big thanks to Jeff, of course, for organising them in these last couple of months. The one I've been involved with as well, and of course the ones before I was earlier on in 2025 as well. As I say, and we've both been mentioning, we hope to be back in 2026, starting, of course, with Daytona and a few races in January, perhaps. and early February before that race. But we will keep you posted. Make sure you subscribe to the Maconi Entertainment YouTube channel, and don't miss the broadcast coming up. As I mentioned, more racing coming up tonight, and the normal racing coming up this weekend as well. The Friday Night Lights are back on Friday, as you would guess. Palmetto Racing League is back on Saturday at the night as well, quickly followed by the Full Length Cup Challenge as well, from the Charlotte Roval, coming to you live on Saturday, as well as Door to Door the day after. So lots of racing coming up this weekend on Maconi Entertainment. As always, make sure you join us for those broadcasts. It's been a pleasure to be back again tonight, though. I've been Ian Leary alongside Harry Burrows, and that's it for the ARCA Bootcamp races in 2025. Good luck to Jeff on Saturday. Hope he runs well at Toledo Speedway. But for us here at the ARCA Bootcamp races in 2025, it's goodbye for now.